Welcome to Quickie Cringe, a mini dose of hilarious cringe stories and more from me, the funny mummy, and you, my brilliant listeners. Let's do this. We need to talk about America's Next Top Model, the documentary. Look, I know this is not technically cringe and tell territory, but I'm going to crowbar this in because I need to talk to you about this. And it is a bit cringy in the sense that if I was Tyra, I would be hiding under my duvet in a permanent state of cringe since this documentary aired. But it's way more than that. It's not just sort of silly, oh God, you know, how cringy moments. It's shocking, actually. I was shocked watching it, and mainly watching Tyra's complete lack of ownership of how she treated those girls and how the production treated those girls. Oh, that's not like really my department. It was your show, babe. We know it was your show, and we know that you had a lot more to do with that side of it than you're telling us. I think the bit that I was shocked by the most, and I felt cringy for her when she was saying this, because I thought, no, Tyra, don't do it, is the bit at the end. And I think we should have a look. We should have a look at this together right now, people.
Somebody calling you out on your shit. It is important. And I want to let you know that I want you guys to be just as open as I am now about getting called on my shit when somebody calls you out on yours. Because that day will come and continue to evolve. Because that's what we're all doing.
Oh my God, thanks, Tyra. Thank you so much for telling me how to evolve as a person. You're just so wise. What a patronising, believing her own nonsense, narcissistic, just horror, shocker of a human being thing to say. That is so, people patronising me and being pretentious is my absolute pet peeve. She was trying to turn this documentary and her behaviour into a teaching moment for us. Oh, thanks, Tyra. So next time I force someone to have dental surgery or make them pretend to be a different race to them, or just look the other way while they're absolutely blackout drunk and having sex in the shower with someone they don't even know what they're doing. I will think of you, Tyra, and how you owned the responsibility for the things you did to those girls. And I'll evolve. Absolute nonsense. She didn't own any of it. The only thing she partially owned was the bit where she lost her temper with one of the contestants. And in the documentary interview thing, when she's in that trench coat, she was like, I lost it. But that was like some really deep, like, you're not good enough, like, industry. Like, that was deep within me, like, feeling like, it's like she just turned it into some absolute nonsense about her struggle in life, and why that was why she absolutely went to town on this girl who was just standing there like 18 years old. And they're all just 18 years old, some of them, completely at the mercy of Tyra and these producers. And look, I'm sure Tyra didn't have a hand in absolutely everything, but even the nonchalance towards the end where she said, I did some shit. Tyra said some shit. I did some shit. Like, it was really nothing. And these poor girls, they've been suffering for the rest of their lives, a lot of them, with the shaming that they receive for their weight, for, you know, different aspects of themselves, and for the way that they ended up behaving on camera. In Shandy's case, she's a broken woman, you can see, after that experience. And they didn't let her call anyone except her boyfriend, and they insisted on filming it. That is so dark. Let's talk about the teeth surgeries. Tyra, you basically said to Danny Evans, are you going to get that gap closed? Basically, you're going home unless you get dental surgery. And I loved her gap, and she loved her gap. You could see it was breaking her heart to close the gap on her teeth. She didn't want to. She didn't want to at all. It was an absolute car crash, and I'm actually cringing at myself for watching it and not realizing how wrong some of it was. I do remember thinking when they were doing the one where models were being photographed with homeless people, I remember thinking that was a bit dodgy, but carried on watching. If you haven't seen the documentary about America's Next Top Model, if you're interested, if you did used to watch it, to be honest, even if you didn't, just to watch a masterclass in deflecting from Tyra Banks, but also the effect it had on these girls and just the real ins and outs of what happened on that show. It is a good watch. If you think I'm being too harsh on Miss Banks, please let me know. If you have thoughts on this documentary and all of it, I want to hear everything. So please send me a message on Instagram or on this pod. Let me know what you thought of it all. I'm going to move on now. Moving on from America's Next Top Model to my cringe stories over the last couple of weeks since I've seen you. I think my main one, which encapsulates me, I think, as a person, and the sort of thing that I do all the time, is I went to a very fancy event a little while ago. It was a lovely number 7 event to launch some of their new products. Absolutely gorgeous. And there were some really famous influencer people there that I follow. So I was fangirling at a lot of people there. And I dressed up. I wore my new leather trousers that I got for Christmas from Never Fully Dressed, obsessed. But it was the first time that I'd worn them. I definitely wouldn't get in them now because my husband and daughter have been away for a week and I've literally existed on Chinese takeaways and pizza. It's been amazing. But yeah, no leather trousers for me for a while. Anyway, I was wearing those, feeling all fancy, but I couldn't find any socks. I can never find any socks in this house. So I was wearing odd socks, but not just any odd socks, lovely listeners, my daughter's odd socks. So I was wearing one of my daughter's knee-length school socks, white, another one which was white, but a short child's sock. I didn't think this was a problem, but then there was a bit in the event where you sat down and listened to these amazing speakers, and I sort of sat down, crossed my legs, and realised that my daughter's massive long sock was like sticking out of my boots, and you could really see them. And I tried to tuck them down, but they looked ridiculous. So that was that. I then realised that my label was still in the trousers, and it was really massive, and I couldn't get it out because it's one of those fancy ones that had like been sewn in. So that was that. And then my water exploded in my bag and it was everywhere. So I felt it's a really fancy event and everything. I just felt like a walking cringe moment. But because of this podcast, I think, and my lovely guests sharing their stories and my lovely listeners sharing their stories, I just thought, sod it. And I didn't actually feel that embarrassed. I was like, well, I'm here at this lovely event. I'm not going to let this ruin it. And I just carried on. The one thing I did do, though, which I do want to talk to you about, because this is something I do quite a lot that I think you might be able to relate to. I do have ADHD, so it is a part of that, I think. But also I'm a bit of a people pleaser and I hate any kind of silence in conversations. So I just told people that this was happening. Like I told people about my daughter's socks that I was wearing and the water in my bag and the label in my trousers. At one point, I was chatting to a woman that I recognised from the telly and had literally just met her. And there was just sort of an awkward silence. And I went, oh, well, I'm wearing my daughter's socks. And I showed her. And then I proceeded to talk about the label up my bum. So she looked at me a bit strangely and walked off kindly, but a bit like, right, let's see if your carer is around somewhere to take you back to wherever you escaped from. I just do that a lot. And I don't know if anyone else out there listening does this. If there is any kind of conflict or anything in my life, this has happened to me recently as well in the last few days. I have been in a sort of conflict situation where I have upset someone, it's work stuff, and I think, oh no, they're going to, not want to work with me anymore, or they're going to be angry with me, or I always end up sort of turning it on myself, and then I will do anything to try and make them not angry at me, even if they might not even be angry at me. By the way, this is in my head. This is definitely an ADHD thing called RSD, rejection sensitivity dysphoria, and it leads to a lot of cringe moments. So if I think you're upset with me, I will apologize profusely. I will basically throw myself at your feet until you tell me you're not annoyed at me anymore. It's something I need to work on because I end up doing that and then afterwards going, oh, God, what did I say that for? Why did I just apologise 50,000 times? Why did I just text them 10 times? Over explaining my point of view from whatever situation it is. And then I just feel anxious and cringy throughout for a plethora of reasons, whether it's because I think the person is annoyed at me or whether it's just because of all the embarrassing things I've just told them and said to stop them being annoyed at me. It's a lovely little soup of people pleasing ADHD and perimenopause. Maybe I'm blaming perimenopause for everything these days, so let's throw that into the mix as well. And I think also as women, I don't know, I'm sure this isn't all women, but I find I just want to fix everything and I just want everybody to be okay. Seems to be my main goal in life. And when people are not okay, I feel like it's my personal responsibility to do something about it, which I'm sure is actually very annoying for the people involved. So that has been my cringe couple of weeks and my take on America's Next Top Model. You're still in the running to becoming America's Next Top Model. No thanks, Tyra. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to keep my teeth how they are. They're a bit wonky because I didn't wear my retainer as much as I was supposed to after my braces. But you know what? Keep your hands off my teeth, Tyra. I don't need that contract with L'Oreal that much. I'm going to stay half Greek. I'm not going to suddenly turn into Malaysian for you today. You're all right, Tyra. You can keep your America's Next Top Model title of Cycle 500 or whatever it is going to be. And good luck to you. That's been Cringe and Tell, Quickie Cringe this week. And you guys have been awesome. Please keep your stories coming. I absolutely love them. Share the podcast with your friends. Tell the world, people, because I think shaking off a bit of cringe and feeling less embarrassed and having a laugh at yourself is the way forward. Lots of love, guys. Have a lovely week. And the guest next week. Oh, it's very exciting. I can't wait to share this episode with you. I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Cringe and Tell. If you have a cringy story, no matter how big or small, we can't wait to hear it. Send me a voice note or message on socials at The Funny Mummy UK or drop me an email to cringeandtell@gmail.com. If you've enjoyed the podcast, why not subscribe, share it with your mates, and make sure to join me next time for more cringe and more laughs.